Hi, I'm Gary,
I'm Leon, the grandfather.
and we are Gary and...
The grandfather. The one for the money, and two for the show, three to get ready and go, go, go. You don't you step on my blue suede shoes. What do you think of that, Gary? Isn't that a launch?
Oh, that was rough.
Well, you know what? The point is, I care. I care. And I thought, if I could suggest, I thought today we could talk about caring. Caring about life, caring about love, just caring about being a being in God's universe, right?
Oh, I haven't done that for a while.
What do you think?
Karen.
Carry, yeah. You care?
About what?
Well, that's the question. That's up to you. What do you care about? Do you care about your life?
I guess.
Well, what does that mean? The answer usually should be yes or no, right?
Well, how about you? How about you?
Well, to be honest, I care a lot. Always have. Always have. Right? But I come from that generation that believed, I'm double your age, right? So that generation, post-war generation, the end of the baby boomers, they cared a lot, about what was going to happen to me, because it was tough. It was tough growing up with our wartime educated parents. If my father was a soldier, the life was black and white. There was no gray. Let's think about it. You either worked or you were lazy, right? Literally. So you learn to care or not. Like in my little village, I was born in a little village. Family occupied a certain socioeconomic stratum in the village, and you worked, man. 14 years old, part-time job. And if you didn't, all my brothers and my sister, all the same. If you didn't, you stigmatized yourself. It was, you're from a village. It's the same. You know exactly what I'm saying. Stop teasing me here. Right? But you know what I mean. Yeah? So, why don't people care, Gary, is the point. Why not?
Well, care about what?
Well, I think care about their life. Because each of us is an independent being, right?
Sure. So, like, what, for you, when you see...
Carrie.
Let's say you see somebody, they're just walking down the street, cruising down the street, right? In one way or the other. And you look at them, and what would be a sign to you? Now, there's a person who cares, or there's a person who doesn't care.
Well, I think all studies have suggested that it's your pace, right? It's your pace. This is not an original thought. But if you kind of saunter, you don't care as much. But the peripatetic walk, that quick-paced movement, is usually somebody on some form of mission, doing something. So I would suggest that the person with that pace probably care more, at least in that instance, than the person who's just sauntering. Depending when, depending where. I've been in New York City at lunchtime. You have as well, I'm sure. It's incredible, right? That suddenly there's nobody on the street, and then the street fills with, suits, basically. And it's like a wave of people. Incredible, right? Just incredible. And I would say that those people all, from my perspective, care a lot, right?
But care about...
Well, I would say that they care about their work, probably. That would be they care about their comportment. But you raise a good question. Care about what?
Yes.
Well, I think when you gain consciousness, I think you have to realize that life is a mission, right? I think that's the truth. Life's a mission. And then I think waking up to that realization, then you have to care, first and foremostly, about your own life. Like, what did this piece of life given to me by God, I believe, right? So what am I going to do with my piece of life that's going to better society, basically, right? And then I think then from there it's the luck of the draw. Life's fickle. Bad things happen, good things happen. You might meet the right person, you might not. You might have a car accident, you might not. You might die in an airplane crash, you might not. You might play the stock market and make a fortune or lose all your money. Life's very fickle. But if you have this mission my way of thinking, this mission in mind, I think then you care about the way you look, the way you act, the way you think, you know, your relationships with people, so on and so forth. You know, that's my take on it. You know,
Okay. Well, I I think sometimes. Well, let's rewind a bit. Let's just rewind a bit. So, for me personally, with caring,
Yeah.
like you said about the mission,
Yeah.
that really resonates with me. And for me personally, I think that in a lot of ways I have been fortunate in my life. Things haven't always been easy, but I've been quite fortunate compared to a lot of people, and even having the ability and the means to travel and work abroad, as an example.
Mm.
I look at a lot of people from my village back home who they're never getting out of there.
Mm.
And there's nothing wrong with it. It's a nice place.
No.
It's great. But
Very, very parochial, very narrow view of the world, though.
Sure.
To be fair.
sure. And the so for me personally, what I wanted to do was to help people and make a difference in the world.
Mm.
Because I think that we do often turn on the news and see all kinds of horrible things. And I think I've been fortunate with my life, what I've been given. So I want to give back by helping people and by improving society as a whole. And that's why, for example, if I go and see street performers, for example, buskers, musicians,
Mhm.
well, I like music.
Mhm.
And so if I see people like that, I'll always, throw in some change for them to encourage them to keep doing it. If I see local musicians perform, well, back in my day, they all made CDs. I'd always buy the CD. Usually wasn't that much,
Yeah.
$5-10, and for a lot of those guys, they were just doing it for the love of the music and trying to follow their dream. So, by supporting them, eventually, if they do make it, then they're going to be giving back to society as well by producing something meaningful
Yeah.
for the society.
Absolutely.
And
Can I ask you a question?
yeah,
I was there the other day and I threw in some money and I thought it was too much money, so I took some change back. And the guy got all weird on me. Why?
yeah.
Why?
Yeah, that's really, really, well, that's really weird to do that.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I left him too much money. And
Well-
I thought, I thought, well, you're not going to leave you that much money. You know, you're not that good.
Well, to put it into to perspective, so so you go to
I have to earn that money.
no,
you know?
well, you go to church, for example,
Yeah.
and they have a collection or whatever.
Right.
They pass around the basket or whatever they do,
Right.
and you pull out your wallet. Your biggest bill is like a 50 or a 20 or whatever. Oops, I didn't want to be given this much. So you throw it in and you start taking out change. Would that be
No, but I wouldn't throw it in.
well?
That's the difference.
Let's say that
I would,
no, but let's say you did throw it in, and then you start taking out change.
Well,
Like that's gonna look weird, right?
I've done that.
Yeah,
I've taken the change out.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
well,
they thought I was weird, but I didn't care.
well, sure,
I threw in 20 and I took back 10.
sure, but some people do.
They do.
But if you do something,
I've never done it.
if you do something
I'm
strange,
just-
if you do something strange,
I'm just
you're
teasing.
gonna
I'm
get. You get my point, I'm sure. So that's
Yeah. But my point is to reinforce your point is I care. And I'm teasing you about the money. I would never do that. But I care about all of my actions. And you do too, Gary. Come on. You care a lot. And like you say, in your village, my village the same. people didn't want to get out, right? And you say you're fortunate. Sure, me too. So what? That's another cross to bear. I'm fortunate.
Well,
I'm white. I'm happy. I'm old. I'm healthy. That's another curse.
but going back to the what you said earlier about the about caring,
Yeah.
I think sometimes people can care too much
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
about things, which I think is I think that
You mean like
not caring-
manic, this kind of like
not caring is not good, because you have the idlers, the people who are sitting, wasting away their talents or what they could be doing. They could be doing something wonderful, helping the world or whatever,
and they do nothing.
and they do nothing. And I say help the world, but it could be something very small. It could just be, going out,
Cleaning the
twice
streets.
a week, and picking up
The
garbage from the
Yeah,
park.
absolutely.
Which
Yeah, one of my students does that, by the way.
Well, I'll tell you something. There was a study that I had read a study one time. It's for a sociology class I took, and there was this experiment where they had two garbage cans set up in town. Both in what would be considered decent areas of town, so not the slums or anything. And the one they had set up, put some garbage inside. The other one, they had just thrown garbage around the can
Wow. Okay.
to see what happened.
Yeah.
The one, and neither can was like stuffed to the gills or anything, so you could put garbage in either of them
Okay.
reasonably.
Okay.
Now, the one that had the garbage all contained within the can, people would go by, put the garbage in the can,
Wow.
keep going. The one that had garbage around the can,
They threw it on the ground.
they just threw it on the ground. And then, because of this,
Wow.
as it started piling up,
Wow.
then you started getting people, tagging the wall and stuff with graffiti.
Wow.
And then graffiti, one of my friends, he's was a graffiti artist. So
Wow.
I have no issues with this, but
No, but
still. And then,
it shows you where it leads. Is your point here?
yeah, the point is, all of these things, it just leads right that it doesn't have to be that way, but all of these things generally,
Just one person to start cleaning and it would change the world.
yeah.
One of my students, she lives across from a big, around our city here. There's lots of empty land that's being developed, right?
Mhm.
And across the road from her brand new apartment is a piece of land that is littered with garbage. And it just went on and nobody picked up. So her and her husband spent one Saturday cleaning this plot of land. And suddenly, it's clean.
Yeah.
Nobody's throwing garbage on this plot of land again.
Yeah.
Isn't that remarkable? So, apropos to what you said, obviously. So, you need the first person to care.
Yeah, and as I said, it doesn't have to be anything big. Just something, everyone could do something. Some people, I know a guy who, took in a lot of dogs, and was taking care of all these dogs.
Oh.
And again, I think it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's people who, for animals again, there's plenty of people who, what they'll do is they'll catch the stray cats, and some vets will neuter or spay the cats free of charge. They'll neuter them, chip them, and then send them out. And this helps
Control the population.
control the population so that the cats, wild or feral cat population doesn't get out of control. And I think cats are useful animals in cities. Take care of the the rats and the
Pardon me, the rodent population.
rodents. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you have too many, I mean, cats again, they breed like crazy.
Yeah.
So all of these very small things that make a huge difference in the world. But on the other hand, like I said, then there's people who care too much about things.
Mm.
For example, I think politics, for example, would be one where you have people who would throw their political beliefs in front of 30-year friendships.
Mm.
So childhood friendships.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
You've had this experience?
Not me personally, but I know people.
Wow.
And-
So you're a communist and I'm a Republican and goodbye?
Yeah, where some people just get so caught up in it, and they
Okay.
start making. It always starts with the generalizations, like Republicans are dumbos, or Democrats are idiots, or something like that. You know, it goes both ways. You know, on with political parties, not one party's. You know, clean, the other's not. It goes both ways with fanatics on both sides.
For sure.
And then, because of that, somebody will read it. They say, well, that's not true, because I don't consider myself an idiot.
Yeah.
And I'm a bloody blah, member of the bloody blah party.
Mm-hmm.
I don't consider myself an idiot. Do you consider me an idiot? And then they'll say, well, you're a bloody blah, and bloody blahs are idiots. So you're saying I'm an idiot then? We've known each other for years.
Or you're an idiot to take that position, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
That's
from
it.
there, that's yeah, and it's that happens worldwide. You know, I have friends. You know, in a lot of countries where politics
Are serious.
are serious and the parties hate each other, and then so you have something like politics, religion. I think is another big one, where some people, the ones who will get up and look at you and say, well, your beliefs are different than mine, you're going to hell.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
For sure. But I mean, I think just if I may, I think to care is a good thing, and I think you can care too much about yourself in the sense that you want to constantly approve. But the intelligent person, whether you disagree, there are people I meet that they say I'm atheist, for instance, and I
Mhm.
think that's very stupid, you know. And I say, well, that's not my belief, and I think you should investigate it further. But if you don't want to, you don't want to, right? So
Yeah.
I do think that you have to care about yourself. I do, very much personally, but I think that you've learned that you can't change anyone. They can only change themselves, right?
Mhm.
So all you can be is an example. So and I think that's why I'm apolitical, because I don't think that the policies that are established in any regime are really designed for the average person. They're designed to advance an agenda, right? Let's take the war at the moment, that horrible war in the Ukraine. Like, what's the real truth? The real truth, Gary, that's coming out here. We know there's a war, which is horrible. I think any idiot would grant you that, for sure.
Yeah.
Anyone would say, my God, there's a war. War's wrong. Guaranteed. But what are the antecedents that brought us to this point? Like, I cannot believe for the life of me that Putin, in this case, just arbitrarily wanted to kill Russian kids. And that he just arbitrarily,
He woke up one day and
yeah,
said,
yeah,
"Yeah, you know what I'd like to
I
do."
want to kill 10,000, because even people like the infamous people like Hitler felt for people. You can see this in this near the end of the war when he touched all those young soldiers. You know, those young walking down in the Reichstag, his last official public statement in February 1945, when he's touching those kids, giving them the Iron Cross for bravery, right? You can't possibly believe that he hated children, because he didn't. He loved children. He loved the Goebbels kids, for instance, right? And so the point is that you can care and care a lot, but still you have to be a rational being, right? And if you, in the modern world especially, if you say black and white, like you're describing with politics, you're just foolish.
Yeah, but
Right.
I think so many for a lot of these
Yeah, I agree.
these
No,
subjects.
no,
I think
I agree.
there's
No, I agree.
a
I
lot
agree.
of people.
For
Yeah.
sure, I agree totally. I agree totally. Well, even some religious people, as you were mentioning before, it's black or white.
Yeah,
Hey, wait
for
a
sure.
moment. That's not my estimation of what God's all about, right? You know, God's smarter than I am. There, and I create human policies. Therefore, I'm not God-like. You know, right? I'm doing my best. You know what I'm saying? You know, yeah. So I take your point.
So when you see people that don't care,
Yeah.
you know, they just don't seem to care. They're just
About anything. I'm going floating through life.
yeah, basically. I like to think of it as sliding on by.
Yeah.
Like what I imagine in my mind is somebody sitting in one of those, you know, desk chairs, office chairs, like I'm sitting on right now,
Yeah.
with the wheels, and they're just like
slide on by.
you know, sliding on by. Yeah, like what do you think when you run into people like that?
Well, I think of a statement that I've read from the guru that I follow in India, Sadhguru, and he said that he's officiated at thousands of deaths, thousands, and in his estimation, the vast majority of human beings are alive for 3 or 4 minutes before they're dead. In other words, they realize they're alive in the last few seconds of life, last few minutes of life, and then they're dead, right? So that's what I think happens to those people that are sliding on by. They don't know they're alive in the way that I think people who care do, right? You know, they don't know. Well, what's the statement? And I teach classes all the time, and people like, what do you want out of life? What's your goal? Well, I get 2 answers. The one is, I want to be happy. Okay? So I say, how do you want to be happy? And they go, what do you mean? How are you going to be happy? Well, I just want to be happy. So if you don't have a job and you have no income, you'll be happy. No! Oh, so to be happy, you need a job and income. Of course! And if you don't have a intimate relationship with another human being, man or woman, you won't be happy. Well, of course not. Oh, so to be happy, you need money and you need a relationship. Oh, I see. So, and I work it that way. That's what I do. The second one, which drives me cuckoo, is I want to be rich and retire. And I say, great. Then what? Sorry? Well, okay, you're rich and you retire, then what? Well, I'll be retired. Okay, how old will you be when you're retired? I don't know, 40, I hope. Great. And the average person now is going to live to 100, so you're going to live 60 years. What are you going to do? Be happy. How? Same, right? Pattern. And you find very quickly that people just don't think. It's what it amounts to. Right? There's no thought process going here. So,
Well, with the retirement one, the thing I always think, because I told some people, I said, well, I want to retire by the time I'm 45. But when I say retire, what I actually mean is,
semi-retired. That's the new phrase I've read.
well, what I mean is financially independent,
Okay.
financial independence.
Yeah.
And to be doing the things that I want to do, such as
Yeah.
writing,
Okay.
for example.
Okay.
I think that for a lot of people, well, for most people, for most authors,
Yeah.
you know, to get to that level where that's your sole
Income.
income,
Hard.
that's yeah. But to be able to write and generate some income from it, you know, yeah, I would like this very much.
Or just be able to write.
Yeah.
Not even income.
Take some or teach some classes on the side. Still teach classes, but to limit which classes I'm teaching and the focus, for example. And I think that
I think I'm retired. That's what I do.
well, no, but well, that's what I would want to do after I'm.
Yeah, I teach a lot still.
But
Be fair.
I think that a lot of people, they think retire and then they think
Golf.
do nothing. But the thing that I ask people, especially younger people, I think especially for younger people who want to just retire, buy a yacht and
Sail away.
just sail away. But I ask them, I say, well, have you ever, they're taking holiday for 3 weeks and just stayed at home. Not gone someplace, just
Yeah.
took the time off and stayed at home.
Mm.
Well, I don't know about you, but after about 3
3
weeks into COVID lockdown, I was going crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
Yeah.
wanted to do something.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of people, especially ambitious people, and we've talked about ambition previously, I think that after about 2 weeks, that's about the
Extent.
extent.
Pardon me. Even 1 week. Gee. Yeah.
Yeah, that's about the extent before you get back to wanting to do something.
I watched a video actually on a guy who was an engineer living in the Midwest, and he always wanted to go sailing. And so he saved his money and he bought a yacht, and he took off.
Mm-hmm.
He met a girl, good-looking Swedish girl who was traveling around the world, and they got to be a couple. So now she's on the yacht, and they're sailing all over the world. Well, obviously, a couple together, intimacy, child, this little girl. And it's all fine and dandy to be educating, to be having a little baby on a yacht, because they're pretty easy. But when they get to be 2, 3, you can't have it. I mean, it's dangerous to have a child running around a yacht. So now they got all this stuff. So anyhow, the story is they're going to end up on land, right? So I think that every action has a reaction, right? So paradise has to be limited, at least until the child, right, becomes established on land for a period of time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because a yacht is only so big. It's nice. It's 52 feet. It's pretty big, but it's not a house with friends and a garden, and it's just not. And I don't think you have to have a normal life, quote unquote, but children need stability. Gary,
Oh yeah,
Gary,
of course. Oh,
you
I
know,
know. I work with children, and even if you switch the music class from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock,
they're destabilized.
yeah, it'll mess them up for the rest of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. My mother, and I think we were the same when I was married. When Louise was alive, dinner was 6, right? And then after the children did various things, cleaned up and all that, and then bath was 8, and then after there was reading, I used to sit in my big chair in the family room, and I would read to my youngest son. You read from the Bible of all things, right? And then put the fire, and very cold, where in the winter times it was wet and cold, so it was quite charming with the fireplace running. And then 9 o'clock was bed, and that was the cycle, And I think children need a cycle. And
Sure.
You know where I was the other day? I was into buying lunch actually. Maybe it was even today. Yeah, today. I went into a store, one of those 7-Elevens or whatever, Family Mart. Grandparents sitting down, the old man, my age, maybe a little bit older, on the phone like this. The wife, also that age, on the phone. 2 grandchildren going crazy, hitting each other, screaming, rolling around on the chairs. The grandparents saying nothing. Nothing at all. Just letting the kids perform. Right? And I know what I would do. It wouldn't be on. Right? Because that is disgusting. Because you're allowing these animals to form as animals, right? And then they're coming to you, is the point. And then you discipline them when they've had this much freedom, right? Your grandparents not caring at all, basically, couldn't be bothered. But and you.
Oh well, that's a whole different topic altogether. Yeah, for sure.
But it's the same point. They don't care. They don't care, not really. Otherwise, they would do something, obviously, So, but I think we have to go. It's getting late. But I think it's necessary, man, to care and care a lot about your life. I always have cared the way I thought, and I've had my own kind of little paths, that I've been off in some little foray in the wrong direction, for sure. I'm not saying that I've been a saint. I haven't been, right? But I've always had this inkling that my life was special, and that's been given once.
Well, the thing, like you said, people who care, if you start going the wrong direction, there's that point where you realize, hey, I'm lost. How can I get back on the track? Or you get so far along and you reverse and you turn around and you get out and get back on the main road. You don't just keep on going. Like, there's a guy I saw an article about, tried to cross the mountain in an electric scooter and he got stuck.
Wow.
Like part way up and had to call police.
Wow.
To bring him a battery that was from a station that was like 30 minutes away, and he had to wait in total about 4 hours just to get off of the mountain.
Wow.
Yeah. I think that, or the other one, I guess I saw a lot of videos about in the States, Death Valley, where people turn off onto their own road and then
die.
Yeah, they
die
would. Well, these people did, and they died, and
they find them.
And the
you don't decay in Death Valley, though, do you? They find your body and you're almost the same, just like you're a mummy. Wow.
So I think that, like you said, if you do, people who do care, if they see that they're going the wrong way, they can figure out an alternative.
Absolutely. I cannot believe, Gary, forgive me here, and I know I sound like an old bitter man, but I cannot believe if I'm a homeless person, I'm homeless, right? I'm living on the street and I'm begging for money, whatever it is. I cannot believe that in my mind I'm saying this is my profession for the next 30 years. I can't believe my mind would allow me not to say I'm getting out of this mess. Or if I'm doped up or drunk or selling my body as a prostitute, I cannot believe that I'm telling myself this is okay unless I don't care.
Well,
that's the point.
You never know people's situations.
No, for sure.
You never know. I never judge.
No, I'm not judging.
I'm not
judge.
I never think this way, because you never know the situation. You don't know their backstories. That's the interesting thing about life. Like I had written a book, and I had based the characters on people in my life. But all of these people, I'm not really allowed to interact with them. So I don't know anything about them. I don't even know their names.
Yeah.
It's colleagues I work with don't even know their names. But I see them every day. I see the same idiosyncrasies with them. Like this one does this, that one does that. I know what brand of coffee they drink. I know which one goes down to the office just to start gabbing with the supervisor. I know which one dangles the mask off the ear, but then when COVID got serious, then she went completely in the other direction and was wearing one of those face shields. I know all these things, but I don't even know their names or almost anything else about them.
Most people don't know they're alive until 4 minutes before they're dead. Remember this.
So I'm just saying, if I don't know the backstory, then, it's not, that might not be, their situations might not be the situation that I think I would want to be in. But then again, who knows? Who knows how they got there?
Yeah, but I mean, but those
Who
people
knows?
those people have a job and are somewhat sane. I'm talking about the losers who've just
Yeah,
seemingly given
but
up.
you don't know. But see, that's the thing. You don't. That's kind of my point, though. That you don't know how those people or why those people are where they are.
No, for sure.
You
But
don't-
they are there. Is the point?
They are,
there.
but yes, they are there. But you don't know.
Outside my son's apartment building, the same beggars for 3 years.
But well,
Come on.
like I said,
Come on.
you don't know.
No, I don't know, but I do know these are losers.
You don't know
Losers.
you don't know what's going on.
What's going on is that they don't care.
You don't know
They
what
don't
you
care.
don't know what is going on. You
No, you're
you
right.
don't know.
You're right, but I assume they don't
Well,
care.
see, and that's judging. That's passing a judgment on somebody because you don't know.
But you know, Gary, I think eventually, I mean, this is a private conversation, of course, but eventually, you kind of assume they don't care. And if you've been a dope addict for 20 years, or I was watching a film before I came to, last time I came home, they asked the guy, how long you been on the street? 23 years. Now, wait a moment. Like, I lived in that country for a period of time. I know the social services that exist. You only live on the street for 23 years because you want to.
But maybe some people do want to.
Yeah, well, that's
I mean, that's the thing that you're not thinking
but
about. Because I know even with prisons,
some people
there
like
are
prisons.
some people who like
prison. I know.
that kind of lifestyle.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
okay, well,
Okay.
anyways, it's getting a bit interesting in here, right? So, but it's getting a bit late.
You better care. That's what I say. Grandfather wants you to care, just like the First World War.
Vote for him.
Grandfather wants you to care about your life.
All right. Gary out.
Grandfather out. Bye-bye. God bless.